So, clearing up the blanket statement that caffeine blocks iron absorption. That is not scientifically correct, but it can be useful in practice because it does get so nitty gritty that most patients don't give a shit what it is. They just need to know what to do, right? So, it's easy to say that, but I wanted to talk a little bit more into it because I am a nutritional science professional and nerd. So, I like this shit. So when we're looking at green tea, we know that it has ECGC, which is catechins, and polyphenols, the tannins. Now, it can get very confusing when we're talking about flavonoids and flavanols and catechins and polyphenols. So let's break that down real quick. We have the umbrella, which is polyphenols, and then we have flavonoids over here that have flavanols in it, and so that's going to be your ECGC and your catechins. And then over here you have your polyphenic compounds, which are going to be your tannins. So you have your tannins that come over here, your flavonoids, and your flavanols here. So that's why it's so much easier to just say that. But when we're looking at other caffeinated beverages like carbonated beverages or sodas, we're also looking at their phosphoric acid and the carbonation itself. So it really has not much to do with the caffeine, but how much that actually impairs the stomach acid for momentarily. Basically, it's going to raise that pH, and that can impair the absorption of B12, protein, and also minerals. So if I haven't lost you yet, let's get more into it. When we're looking at iron absorption, we know that there's two different types of iron. There is heme iron, which is animal-based rich foods, and there is non-heme, which includes eggs and plant-based iron-rich foods. So those are the differences there. With the tannins or the polyphenols, that we just want to blanket statement those because that has the ECGC, the catechins, and the tannins all in there. That actually will bind to the minerals in the GI tract, and that's where the iron, zinc, magnesium, calcium absorption is impaired. And so that's what that has to do with it. Now, again, you might have heard me say, do not boil your water if you're making green tea. First, it makes your mouth very astringent. It's dry. You can't get enough water in there. So we don't want to do that, but that's because it is releasing more tannins. And so keeping your green tea around 150, 180 degrees Fahrenheit, that will help reduce how much tannins are coming out to play. That will bind to those. It's a good rule of thumb to just keep caffeinated food or drinks away from your meals, and that's why you hear us say that. But it's not because of the caffeine as much as it is the polyphenols. So looking at the black tea is going to have those tannins in there, a little bit more tannins because it is a fermented tea leaf. And when we're looking at the non-heme, it is going to impair that absorption by 40 to 70%. Coffee, which also has tannins in it, and also the chlorogenic acid in the coffee, can impair the mineral absorption by about 40%. So decaf versus non-decaf, it doesn't matter, because we're not talking about caffeine per se, we're talking about caffeinated beverages and the constituents that's in them. When we are looking at the heme iron, which is the animal source iron, it's not impacted, very, very little. It has a great bioavailability in it. And so vegans and vegetarians have to be very, very mindful of their iron intake and how their iron is absorbed. Because you can see all these videos, and listen, I was vegan for 9 years. I know this shit. And you see these videos and it's like, oh, broccoli and soy and all these things, high iron. Okay, are you absorbing them? You can add vitamin C. That's going to help. That will help. But how many other factors are we facing here? We can get into the oxalates and the phytates from our nuts and seeds and beans and spinach and all these things. It gets very complicated there. But when we're looking at the calcium and how that impairs iron absorption from dairy products and milk. If you're having a glass of milk with every meal and you're trying to increase your iron absorption, that can impact heme iron too, not just non-heme. Non-heme more than heme, but it can still impact heme iron, and we're talking about the dairy. And then with matcha is similar to green tea because of the catechins and the polyphenols reducing that. Yeah, so circling back to the carbonation, we talked about that. And the phosphoric acid, it chelates those minerals and blocks that absorption. So that's the real reason, and me just blurbing 6 minutes, is why we just say caffeine blocks iron absorption, but it doesn't. So that's not scientifically correct, and I just wanted to clear that up.